Hello everyone and welcome to the show. If not now, when? I'm Marjorie Paillon with me in studio, Sébastien Badeau.
Hello, Marjorie.
Hi Sébastien. So today it's quote, the oldest luxury startup in the world. And as a place at the table for the past 200 years, brings style to life and reminds us that indeed sharing is caring. To dive in the question, our guest today is the CEO of Christofle, Nathalie Remy. Great to have you on the show. Christofle is definitely at the heart of the art of sharing.
Yes.
At the art of sharing changed over the past few months.
Well, definitely it has. I think sharing is a deep need for the human people. During confinement, we had to learn new ways to share. Using technology, virtual meetings, phone calls, WhatsApp, Zoom, etc. We've all spent our lives on these tools. But we still had this need to share. I think actually sharing is even more relevant today than it used to be because we are in need. And especially I think our generation and the older generations are deeply in need of getting back to a normal way of sharing. I think now, we are half confined, I would say. We are slightly free to move, not completely. What's the first thing we did? Is to go back, visit family, visit friends, spend time together, have a nice dinner together. So I think sharing today is even more relevant.
And you've been agile enough to actually adapt to all those changes literally overnight, although you're a 200 years old brand.
Yeah, but there is no contradiction between having a strong DNA and heritage, which we do have, and being in a startup mindset, very agile. I think one of the positive changes from this crisis is it has actually accelerated our change. I actually joined this company 2.5 years ago with a vision to really transform it. We have accelerated in the last 6 months more than we would have done in the next 2 years. But thanks to the crisis, I think we've been much more flexible to readjust, reallocate resources, especially to China, reallocate resources to digital. We've been much more agile, fast in decision making, and able to test and learn because we actually had to reinvent our operating model almost overnight. We had to shut down the factory. We could still deliver, but not in every country. Like many companies, we had basically 2 weeks to wind down the company.
Were you able to remain creative during that time, or was that a challenge?
Depends what you call creativity. If you call creativity in the design, because Christofle is a fully integrated company from design to manufacturing to distribution and after sales service, yes, we have continued to be creative. And we have actually pushed product development even more because our creatives had time and they say when they are at home, calm, they have more ideas and more time to draw, etc. But we've been even more creative in the way we do business. When your stores are closed, how do you sell? Well, you start distance sales, you use WhatsApp, you use WeChat, and you start to do distance sales. When you have no factory able to deliver, what do you do? Well, you see where you have inventory elsewhere in the world, and then you move stock around. So I think we've been actually very creative in the way we work, and I just hope this will continue.
Well, in other words, you had to think out of the lunchbox.
Yes, out of any box, actually.
But the lunchbox being now definitely your screen, basically. What do you come up with ideas when it comes to remote workers that definitely had to eat at some point?
This is the issue of adapting your content. We are very lucky. We are a small brand, and we used to have almost no content before. So we are more in a very fast content production mode. So during confinement, we were able to shoot campaigns on enhancing the home office for the people working at home, because actually it can be much nicer in terms of environment when you're at home, when you have the luxury of having space. We also did a campaign around working lunch. So, Christofle is very well known for the big tables with a very formal setting. But actually today, when you have just 30 minutes to eat a lunch in front of your computer, so we just show trays and how you can enjoy that moment. We also did content to actually inspire our consumers, because a lot of them are alone or just two people at home, especially in Asia. Lots of people live just as two people. They don't have a large family like we can have here in Europe or in the US. So we shared recipes showing how they can use our product to actually taste what they prepare at home, just to provide them with some entertainment.
And they kind of like rediscovered their home during that time as well,
Yes,
right? And this
completely.
is something that you're seeing today.
You know, luxury industry is quite severely hit since the beginning of this crisis. The latest trends report now something like a minus 30% for this year and very slow recovery next year, probably not before the second half of the year. We have been probably more resilient. I think there is an underlying trend. And as you said, Sébastien, people rediscover their home. So in the Western world, what it means is that we have younger generations having increased appetite for actually investing in having a better home, working on their chez soi, right? In Asia, it's very interesting because people used to spend a lot of time outside, in restaurants. They were not receiving many people at home, cooking at home. But with confinement, this has changed. And actually, we are seeing a trend. And the Google statistics for Europe and the Tmall statistics for China show that there is an increased search for all categories related to home and lifestyle.
Yeah. We saw that also like in Europe because we did a research study with AliExpress that showed like the categories that drove the most searches and sales during the confinement period were sports, because people needed to exercise at home. And the second one was home and decoration, because yes, if you're in this environment, first of all, you're going to see things that you may not see that often when you spend just a few hours at home. Here you were spending full days. And also because this is, you know, you wanted to make your place nicer. Because this is what the environment you were stuck in all day long.
Let's step out of the home for a quick second, if you may, because actually part of your business is also focused on the hospitality business. It means hotels, it means restaurants too. What do you see on that front?
Well, it's a distressed industry these days. I think the recovery will be very low. Our business is significantly down. Most big projects have been delayed. Refurbishments have been postponed for a few years. So I don't expect a recovery. We are supporting our partners, the chefs. They have actually partnered with us for content production. The recipes we shared were chef recipes. We did a partnership with some chefs to offer an aperitif for deconfinement. So this was a social media campaign, and we had actually chefs around the world in every continent who participated to that. So we are trying to provide them with support. We have a new offering coming soon for them, which is the first one in the industry. So you were talking about creativity, right? So we launched the first leasing offering in homeware. So actually they will be able to equip themselves without having the big cash out, but just by paying over 3 years a monthly rent. And we hope that with this support that we provide them with a financial partner, they will be able to accelerate their ramp up and get back to normal faster.
When the world is basically losing its bearings, lifestyle is like the lighthouse in the night. You actually have to refer to something to build on life, basically. So lifestyle is definitely more than trends, it's a purpose.
I think what's interesting is that like we've seen and we're looking at it, especially like from the young generation standpoint. Yes, the young generation loves digital and they move into digital very easily, and for them creating links and creating relationships through digital is much easier than it is for our generation likely. But next to that, once you've opened the gates, and this is something that we've seen in China, be it reopening of the stores or reopening of the restaurants, they flooded to these stores because they wanted to have not only that experience, but it's not just about the experience, it's also about the human contact and just being in the space. So I think clearly lifestyle as a whole, and just as you said earlier, Nathalie, like this idea that humans want to be together, we saw it happen for sure in China once quarantine was over.
Yeah, I would add that, you know, lifestyle is a buzzword. It doesn't mean anything, actually. You have as many different lifestyles as you have people on the planet. Our vision of lifestyle is sharing, is creating conviviality, and this is our mission. It's an internal mission for employees, it's an external mission for consumers. What we've seen in terms of people and society since COVID-19 appeared is people are getting back to really deep values, back to family, back to home, back to sustainability, back to transmission, back to investing in lasting products instead of this frenetic, sorry for the brands, but fast fashion kind of consumerism. And actually, I think this is very positive for brands like us, because sterling is a natural product. it's never ending. I mean, we have sterling products that are millennials old in the Louvre in Paris. You can transmit it to the next generation. You never have to throw it away. If you don't want it, you can melt it and do something else with it. It's a real value. And it's for embellishing every of these sharing moments with what really matters. And it's healthy. Because when you're back to the roots, sterling products were used for dining because it was healthier than other materials.
I'll add to that going back to the Chinese consumer, it also tells a story. And I think the Chinese consumers, what they buy more than anything is a story,
Is
the
the
story
story.
behind the brand.
Yeah.
And there's a story behind the product itself when it's 100 years old. You've taught us a lot about all the takeaways that you've had business-wise. Did you have a personal takeaway from this time?
Many. I think maybe the biggest one is this realization of the need for socializing. During the 2-3 months we spent, just at home, we didn't realize. I mean, I've been working more than ever in my life. But after you realize you've been missing deeply something. And really, I don't want this to happen anymore. So I'm probably more caring about sharing than I used to be. The other thing that you realize is actually what really matters. And it's just 3 things. Be healthy, because as long as you are healthy, you can do whatever you want. Your family, because this is there forever for you. And your friends. And, just being there, spending time with my kids. They were back home for 5 months. Was an amazing period. I would like to keep a bit of that.
Building on legacy for the next 200 years to come. Thank you so much, Nathalie.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Thank you, Marjorie.
And of course, thanks to you for watching. We'll be back soon with the next episode of If Not Now, When?